Noah Wells tugs at his collar, acutely aware of the alien female's eyes locked onto him from across the room. The formal reception in the Tak capital buzzes with activity, a sea of diplomats from Earth and their alien counterparts mingling amidst the backdrop of newly signed trade agreements. But for Noah, the weight of interstellar relations fades into the background as Willa, a striking Tak female, approaches. Her iridescent skin shimmers under the soft lighting, each step bringing her closer with a predatory grace that sends a shiver down Noah's spine. He forces a diplomatic smile, keenly aware of Willa's position on the Tak ruling council. As she reaches him, her alien features contort into what he assumes is a smile, revealing rows of sharp, crystalline teeth. "Ambassador Wells," Willa purrs, her voice a melodic trill. "I've been eagerly anticipating our meeting." Noah nods, maintaining his composure. "Counselor Willa, the pleasure is mine. The new trade agreement promises great things for both our species." Willa's hand brushes against Noah's arm, the touch electric even through his suit jacket. "Oh, I believe it promises far more than mere trade, Ambassador." Throughout the evening, Willa's advances grow bolder. She finds excuses to touch Noah, her alien fingers lingering longer each time. Her eyes, multifaceted like precious gems, never leave him. Noah struggles to maintain his professional demeanor, torn between diplomatic duty and a growing, inexplicable attraction. As the reception winds down, most attendees filter out. Willa seizes her moment, sidling up to Noah with a gleam in her eyes. "Ambassador, perhaps you join me in my private chambers, a nightcap to discuss further negotiations?" Noah hesitates, aware of the potential consequences. Refusing could jeopardize the fragile alliance. Accepting could lead to complications. With a deep breath, he nods. Willa's quarters are opulent, adorned with shimmering crystals and pulsating bioluminescent plants. As soon as they enter, she locks the door with a resounding click. Noah's heart races as Willa turns to him, her alien features alight with desire. "Ambassador Wells." "Noah," she breathes, her voice husky. "I must confess, our interest in humans extends beyond mere trade." Noah backs away, bumping into a curved alien furnishing. "What do you mean?" Willa advances, her movements fluid and captivating. Tak females are drawn to human males. You're irresistible to us. The trade agreement was merely a pretext. Realization dawns on Noah. A pretext? For what? "To bring human males here," Willa explains, her hands working at the fastenings of her ceremonial robes. "We hope to create a new hybrid species, melding the best of both our races." As her robe falls away, Noah's breath catches. Willa's alien form is both strange and alluring, a blend of smooth curves and angular planes that defies human norms of beauty, yet captivates him entirely. This is highly irregular," Noah stammers, his back pressed against the wall. Willa's laugh is like tinkling crystals. "Diplomacy often is, Noah." With surprising strength, she grabs Noah's wrist, pulling him towards an ornate, seemingly organic bed. "Come," she commands. "Let's forge a new future for both our species." Noah's mind races. The fate of interspecies relations hangs in the balance, along with his own desires and ethics. As Willa pulls him onto the bed, he knows the next moments will change everything. Noah's heart raced as Willa pulled him onto the bed, her alien form both enticing and terrifying. But as her grip tightened on his wrist, a surge of panic overrode his conflicting desires. With a sudden jerk, he tore his arm free and stumbled backward, nearly tripping over an undulating piece of furniture. "Wait," he gasped, holding up his hands. We can't." Willa's multifaceted eyes narrowed, her iridescent skin pulsing with what Noah interpreted as frustration. She glided toward him, her movements fluid and predatory. "Why do you resist, Noah? Our union could herald a new era for both our species." Noah's mind whirled, searching for a diplomatic response. "Counselor Willa, I'm flattered, truly. But this is moving too fast. We need to consider the implications." A piercing alarm cut through the air, startling them both. The crystals adorning the walls flashed an urgent red, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the room. Noah squinted at the rapidly scrolling alien text, struggling to decipher its meaning. Willa hissed, a sound like wind through crystal chimes. A solar flare, she explained, her attention momentarily diverted. Our star grows restless. Seizing the opportunity, Noah edged toward the door. His fingers brushed the control panel, but nothing happened. He pressed harder, panic rising in his throat as he realized the implications. The flare has disrupted our systems, Willa said, her voice a mix of amusement and resignation. We are sealed in until it passes. Noah's shoulders sagged. He turned to face Willa, who had moved to a glowing console near the window. The initial aggression seemed to have left her, replaced by a focused intensity as she studied the readouts. How long? Noah asked, his voice hoarse. Willa's crystalline teeth glinted as she answered. Hours at least, perhaps longer. An uncomfortable silence fell between them, broken only by the soft pulsing of bioluminescent plants and the muted wail of the alarm. Noah found himself drawn to the window, where the alien sky had erupted into a breathtaking display of color. Shimmering curtains of light danced across the horizon, bathing the room in an otherworldly glow. It's beautiful, he murmured, momentarily forgetting his predicament. Willa moved to stand beside him, her earlier predatory demeanor softened. Yes, she agreed, though its beauty masked great danger. As they stood there, Noah became aware of a subtle change in the air. A sweet, intoxicating scent filled his nostrils, clouding his thoughts. He glanced at Willa, noting how the aurora's light played across her alien features, highlighting curves and angles he hadn't noticed before. Noah, Willa said, her voice gentler than before. I must apologize for my forwardness earlier. Allow me to explain. Over the next hour, as the solar storm raged outside, Willa revealed the truth behind the Tac-Tac's interest in humans. Their species faced extinction, trapped in a genetic bottleneck that threatened their very existence. They believed human DNA held the key to their survival, offering the diversity they desperately needed. As Willa spoke, Noah found himself drawn in, not just by her words, but by her presence. The sweet aroma in the air intensified, and he realized with a start that she was releasing pheromones. His body responded, pulse quickening, skin flushing. I understand now, Noah said, his voice thick. But surely there are other ways? Genetic engineering, perhaps? Willa shook her head, the motion sending ripples across her iridescent skin. We've tried. Nothing else has worked. This is our last hope. Noah's diplomatic training warred with his growing attraction. He studied Willa, seeing her not as an alien being, but as a person, intelligent, complex, and facing an impossible situation. The lines between duty and desire blurred. They moved to a low, undulating couch, their bodies nearly touching. Noah could feel the heat radiating from Willa's alien form, sense the desperation and hope emanating from her. Tell me about Earth, Willa said softly. About your people, your cultures. As the hours passed and the aurora continued its mesmerizing dance outside, Noah and Willa shared stories of their worlds. He spoke of Earth's diverse ecosystems, of human art and music. She described Tac-Tac philosophy, their connection to the crystals that surrounded them, the intricacies of their society. With each passing moment, the gap between them seemed to narrow. Noah found himself captivated by the grace of Willa's movements, the depth of her knowledge, the subtle expressions that played across her alien features. He began to see beyond the strangeness of her form, appreciating the unique beauty of her species. Another wave of the solar flare washed over the planet, causing the lights to flicker and the crystals to sing with an eerie resonance. In that moment of otherworldly beauty and shared vulnerability, Noah made a decision that would alter the course of both their species. Slowly, deliberately, he reached out. His fingertips brushed Willa's face, tracing the contours of her alien features. She went still, her multifaceted eyes wide with surprise, and something Noah couldn't quite name. Hope, perhaps, or relief. Noah, she breathed, her voice a melody of clicking and trills. Are you sure? He nodded, words failing him as the weight of the moment settled over them. As Willa leaned into his touch, Noah knew that whatever happened next would change everything. For him, for Earth, for the future of human-Tok-Tok relations. The universe seemed to hold its breath as they drew closer, the boundary between their two species blurring in the shimmering light of an alien sky. As their eyes met in the shimmering light of the alien sky, Noah felt a surge of emotion he couldn't fully comprehend. His fingertips lingered on Willa's face, tracing the unfamiliar contours with a mixture of fascination and growing desire. The initial fear and hesitation melted away, replaced by an intense curiosity about the being before him. Willa leaned into his touch, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the dancing auroras outside. "Noah," she whispered, her voice a melodic trill that sent shivers down his spine. I didn't expect this." Noah swallowed hard, his heart racing. "Neither did I," he admitted, his voice barely audible over the muted alarm still echoing through the room. With gentle pressure, he drew Willa closer, their bodies now mere inches apart. The sweet, intoxicating scent in the air intensified, clouding Noah's thoughts and heightening his senses. He was acutely aware of every point of contact between them, the heat radiating from Willa's alien form, the subtle vibrations of her crystalline structure. Their lips met, an explosion of sensation unlike anything Noah had ever experienced. Willa's mouth was cool and smooth, with an underlying warmth that seemed to pulse in time with her bioluminescent skin. As the kiss deepened, Noah felt a tingling sensation spread throughout his body, as if every cell was awakening to a new reality. Willa's hands roamed Noah's body, her touch both alien and enticing. She worked at the fastenings of his formal attire with surprising dexterity, her fingers leaving trails of tingling warmth in their wake. Noah reciprocated, his hands exploring the unfamiliar planes and curves of Willa's form. As their clothing fell away, Noah marveled at the sight before him. Willa's body was a masterpiece of alien beauty, her iridescent skin pulsing with patterns of light that seemed to respond to his touch. He ran his hands along her sides, eliciting a soft gasp from Willa as her bioluminescence flared brightly. They moved to the organic bed, its surface undulating gently beneath them as if alive. Noah's diplomatic training and earthly inhibitions faded away, replaced by an all-consuming desire to explore and connect with the alien being in his arms. As their intimacy deepened, Noah discovered that despite their physiological differences, there was an unexpected compatibility between their species. Willa's body responded to his touch in ways both familiar and utterly foreign, each caress and embrace unlocking new sensations. Suddenly, Noah felt a change come over Willa. Her skin began to secrete a viscous, amber-colored fluid that coated her entire body. The substance glistened in the auroral light, its scent adding to the intoxicating mix of pheromones already filling the air. "What's happening?" Noah asked, his voice husky with desire and curiosity. Willa's crystalline teeth glinted as she smiled. "It's part of our mating process," she explained between passionate kisses. "A bonding agent to bring us closer." As the fluid made contact with Noah's skin, he felt a jolt of electricity course through his body. His senses sharpened to an almost painful degree, and suddenly he was aware of more than just physical sensations. Images and emotions flooded his mind, visions of a world he'd never seen, feelings he'd never experienced. Through this newfound connection, Noah saw flashes of Tok-Tok history. He witnessed their struggles with genetic degradation, felt their desperation as they searched for a solution. He saw the moment of first contact with humans, the spark of hope that ignited within the Tok-Tok species. "I can feel your thoughts," Noah gasped, overwhelmed by the torrent of alien memories and emotions. Willa nodded, her eyes shimmering with intensity. "We are bonded now, Noah. Our minds, our bodies, our futures, intertwined." Their lovemaking took on a new dimension, physical pleasure amplified by the mental connection they now shared. Noah experienced sensations he never knew existed, his human physiology responding to stimuli beyond his understanding. Willa, in turn, reveled in the alienness of Noah's form, her body adapting and reacting in ways she had only theorized about. As they approached the peak of their shared pleasure, the solar flare outside intensified. The room's crystals hummed with energy, their light pulsing in sync with Willa's bioluminescence. Suddenly, a surge in the flare's power caused a massive energy fluctuation. The room plunged into darkness, illuminated only by the glow of Willa's skin and the vibrant auroras visible through the window. In this moment of sensory deprivation, Noah and Willa's connection reached its zenith. Their physical forms seemed to blur, the boundaries between human and Tok dissolving in a rush of shared ecstasy. Noah felt as if he was experiencing the birth of a star, the collision of galaxies, the very essence of life itself. As the intensity of their encounter subsided, Noah and Willa lay entangled on the undulating bed, their bodies still faintly glowing from the residual effects of their bonding. The telepathic link began to fade, but a residual connection remained, allowing them to communicate without words. "That was," Noah began, struggling to find words to describe the experience. Willa's thoughts flowed into his mind, a mixture of joy, hope, and lingering desire. "The beginning of something new," she completed his sentence, "for both our species." As they basked in the afterglow of their encounter, Noah's mind began to race with the implications of what had just transpired. He had come to this planet as a diplomat, tasked with fostering positive relations between Earth and the Tok. Now, he found himself at the center of a situation that could redefine the very nature of those relations. The muted alarm that had been sounding throughout their encounter finally fell silent. In the distance, Noah could hear the hum of systems coming back online as the solar flare began to subside. Reality started to creep back in, bringing with it a host of new challenges and questions. Willa sensed his growing unease. She propped herself up on one elbow, her multifaceted eyes studying Noah's face. "You're worried about what comes next," she said, her voice a soothing melody. Noah nodded, sitting up on the edge of the bed. What we've done, it changes everything. How do I explain this to my superiors? To Earth?" Willa moved closer, her hand resting on Noah's shoulder. "You won't face this alone," she assured him. "What we've experienced is bigger than just us. It's happening all across our world." Noah turned to her, his eyes wide with surprise. "What do you mean?" "Other Tok females have been pursuing similar encounters with human males," Willa explained. "We're creating a network of potential hybrid parentage, a foundation for the future of both our species." As Noah processed this information, he heard a faint click from across the room. The door to Willa's chambers unlocked, signaling the end of their forced confinement. The outside world, with all its complexities and expectations, awaited them. Noah stood, his body still tingling from the lingering effects of their encounter. He began to gather his scattered clothing, his mind working to formulate a plan. He would need to approach his superiors carefully to find a way to explain the true nature of the Tok's interest in humans without causing a diplomatic incident. As he dressed, Noah glanced at Willa, who was adorning herself in her ceremonial robes once more. Despite the challenges that lay ahead, he felt a newfound connection not just to her, but to the entire Tok species and their plight. Willa moved to Noah's side, placing a hand on his chest. Through their fading mental link, he felt her unwavering support. "Together," she said simply, her voice filled with persistence. Noah nodded, squaring his shoulders, as he prepared to face the new reality they had created. As they moved towards the door, he paused for one last moment, pulling Willa close for a final, tender kiss. Then, with a deep breath, he reached for the door control, ready to step into a world forever changed by their actions. The door slid open, revealing the bustling corridor beyond. The sounds of urgent conversations and hurried footsteps filled the air as diplomats and Tok officials rushed to assess the impact of the solar flare. Noah and Willa exchanged a meaningful glance before stepping out of the room, their personal transformation about to collide with the larger world of interstellar politics. Politics. As they stepped into the corridor, the scene that greeted them was one of controlled chaos. Emergency lights flickered along the walls, casting an eerie glow over the bustling Tok staff, rushing to restore systems. The air hummed with a cacophony of alien voices, their clicks and trills tinged with urgency. Noah blinked, his eyes adjusting to the dim light as he took in the full scope of the situation. Willa's hand found his, her cool touch grounding him in the midst of the commotion. "We need to move quickly," she said, her voice low and melodic. "The effects of the flare won't last forever." Noah nodded, suddenly aware of the precious window of time they had before he would need to report back to his superiors. As they navigated the winding hallways, snippets of conversation reached his ears, confirming what Willa had told him earlier. But unprecedented success rate, genetic compatibility, confirmed. Future of our species. Each overheard fragment painted a clearer picture of the scale of the Tok-Tok's plan. Noah's mind raced, trying to process the implications of what had transpired not just between him and Willa, but throughout the entire complex. As they approached the central command center, Noah felt a mixture of anticipation and apprehension building in his chest. The doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a vast room filled with holographic displays and bustling with activity. At the center of it all stood High Counselor Zix, his imposing figure drawing Noah's attention immediately. The Tok-Tok leader's intricate ceremonial markings seemed to shimmer in the low light as he turned to face the newcomers. "Ah, Noah." Zix's voice resonated with a depth that seemed to vibrate in Noah's chest. "I see you and Willa have become acquainted." Noah swallowed hard, searching for the right words. Before he could speak, Zix continued, his multifaceted eyes glinting with what Noah could only interpret as satisfaction. "You need not explain. The solar flare was not entirely a natural occurrence. We nudged it along to facilitate these encounters and accelerate our hybridization plans." The revelation hit Noah like a physical blow. He glanced at Willa, who met his gaze with a mix of apology and willpower in her eyes. Zix approached, holding out a small, glowing crystal. "This contains all the information about our genetic crisis and our research on human Tok-Tok hybrid potential. We offer it as a gesture of trust and transparency." Noah's hand closed around the crystal, its warmth pulsing against his palm. As he examined it, trying to process the weight of what he'd been given, a piercing alarm shattered the relative calm of the command center. A massive holographic display flickered to life, showing a fleet of ships entering the Tok-Tok solar system. Noah's blood ran cold as he recognized the aggressive, angular design of Grek vessels. "The Grek," Zix's voice was grim. "They've been waiting for a moment of weakness. The flare has left our defenses vulnerable." Noah's mind raced, years of diplomatic training colliding with the newfound connection he felt to the Tok-Tok. He found himself at a crossroads, the fate of an entire species potentially resting on his next actions. Zix turned to Noah, his posture straight and formal. "Noah of Earth, we officially request your planet's assistance in repelling this invasion." Willa stood beside him, her skin pulsing with anxious bioluminescence. Noah could almost feel her fear, a remnant of their mental connection urging him to action. Drawing a deep breath, Noah stepped forward. "We can use the lingering effects of the flare to our advantage," he began, surprised by the steadiness in his voice. "If we combine Tok-Tok technology with human tactical expertise, we might be able to mount a counterattack that the Grek won't see coming." As Noah outlined his strategy, the doors to the command center slid open once more. A group of human diplomats entered, led by Captain Elena Rodriguez. Her eyes widened as she took in the scene before her. "Noah, what the hell is going on here?" Rodriguez demanded, her hand instinctively moving to the weapon at her hip. In a rush of words, Noah explained the situation, the Tok-Tok's desperation, the hybridization plan, and the imminent Grek invasion. He watched as Rodriguez's expression shifted from confusion to understanding, and finally to relentless drive. "Well," she said, straightening her uniform, "I guess we're about to get a crash course in interstellar warfare. What's the plan?" As Noah, Willa, Zix, and Rodriguez gathered around a tactical hologram, the command center buzzed with renewed purpose. Tok-Tok technicians worked feverishly to bring defense systems online, while human diplomats found themselves thrust into roles they never imagined. Noah's fingers flew over the holographic controls, outlining attack vectors and defense strategies. "If we can use the Tok-Tok's cloaking technology to mask our ships," he explained, "we might be able to flank the Grek fleet here and here." Rodriguez nodded, adding her own tactical insights. "We'll need to coordinate with any Tok-Tok fighters you have left. A synchronized attack from multiple vectors could throw them off balance. As the plan took shape, Noah felt a surge of energy coursing through him. The fate of two species hung in the balance, and he found himself at the center of it all. Glancing at Willa, he saw his own mix of fear and commitment reflected in her alien features. "Let's get to work," Noah said, his voice carrying across the command center. "We've got a planet to defend." Defend. Noah's words hung in the air for a moment before the command center erupted into action. As the Grek invasion force approached, Noah found himself at the heart of a whirlwind of activity. Tok technicians rushed to implement the defense strategies he and Captain Rodriguez had outlined, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with urgency. The lingering effects of the solar flare provided an unexpected advantage. Noah directed the Tok to use their advanced cloaking technology to mask their counterattack, while human tactical expertise guided the placement of defensive batteries. "Grek ships entering atmosphere," a Tok officer announced, her voice a sharp trill that cut through the din of the command center. Noah locked eyes with Willa across the room. Without a word, they moved in unison towards an unmanned defense station. As Noah's fingers danced across the alien controls, he felt Willa's consciousness brush against his own, a remnant of their intimate encounter that now served a far more urgent purpose. Through the station's view screen, Noah watched as the first wave of Grek vessels broke through the cloud cover. Their ships were angular and predatory, a stark contrast to the organic curves of Tok architecture. "Target lead ships," Noah instructed, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Willa's hands moved in perfect sync with his, adjusting targeting parameters within human speed. The first volley of Tok energy weapons lanced out, catching several Grek ships off guard. Explosions bloomed in the sky, but the victory was short-lived. "They're regrouping," Captain Rodriguez called out from her position coordinating with the Tok military. "Prepare for retaliation." The words had barely left her mouth when the Grek fleet unleashed a devastating barrage. The command center shook violently, and alarms blared as reports of damage to Tok cities flooded in. Noah gritted his teeth, realizing their defensive strategy wouldn't be enough. He turned to High Counselor Zix, who stood stoically in the center of the room. "We need to take the fight to them," Noah proposed, his mind racing. A small team could infiltrate their command ship, disable their main weapons array. Zix's multifaceted eyes studied Noah for a long moment before he nodded. "A bold plan, but perhaps our only option. What do you need?" "A stealth shuttle and a team of our best," Noah replied, already scanning the room for potential candidates. Within minutes, Noah had assembled his team: Captain Rodriguez, 2 other human diplomats, and Willa, who insisted on joining as their Tok liaison. As they boarded the sleek, organic-looking Tok shuttle, Noah felt a mixture of tenacity and trepidation. The shuttle launched, immediately engaging its cloaking technology. Noah watched through the view screen as they wove through the chaos of the battle, debris and energy blasts crisscrossing their path. "There," Willa pointed, her voice resonating in Noah's mind as much as his ears. "That section of the hull shows signs of recent repair. It may be more vulnerable to our entry methods." Noah nodded, guiding the shuttle towards the weak point. As they approached, the true scale of the Grek command ship became apparent. It dwarfed their shuttle, a city-sized monstrosity jam-packed with weapons. "Prepare for breach," Noah announced, his hand steady on the controls. The shuttle's cutting beam activated, slicing through the Grek ship's outer hull. With a hiss of equalizing pressure, they were in. Noah and Willa took point as they entered the alien corridor, their movements perfectly in sync. The human diplomats followed, led by Captain Rodriguez, whose military training was evident in her alert posture. They encountered their first resistance almost immediately. A patrol of Grek soldiers rounded the corner, their insectoid features contorting in surprise. Noah and Willa moved as one, her Tok energy weapon complementing his hand-to-hand combat skills. They dropped the first 2 Grek before the aliens could raise their weapons. Captain Rodriguez and her team engaged the remaining Grek, their fight punctuated by the sharp reports of human firearms and the hum of alien energy weapons. As the last Grek fell, Noah paused to catch his breath. "We need to move quickly," he said. "They'll know we're here now." They pressed on, navigating the labyrinthine corridors of the Grek ship. Noah relied on Willa's knowledge of alien ship designs, their lingering mental connection allowing for seamless communication. As they approached a junction, Noah heard a faint sound, a voice speaking in heavily accented English. He held up a hand, signaling the team to stop. "Please, help!" Noah edged forward, peering around the corner. In a small alcove behind a shimmering force field sat a disheveled human man. "Dr. Johansson?" Noah asked, recognizing the renowned xenobiologist from briefing files. The man's eyes widened. You're human? How?" "No time to explain," Noah said, working to deactivate the force field. "We're here to stop the Grek invasion. Can you help?" As the force field dropped, Dr. Johansson stumbled out. "Yes," he said, his voice gaining strength. "I know why they're here, and I know how to stop them." With the addition of Dr. Johansson, the team pushed on towards the weapons control room. The Grek resistance grew heavier, but Noah and Willa's synchronized combat abilities, combined with the human team's adaptability, kept them moving forward. As they fought their way through another group of Grek soldiers, Noah caught snippets of Dr. Johansson's explanation to Captain Rodriguez. "Mineral unique to the Tak world, they believe it can cure their genetic defect." The revelation sent Noah's mind blown. The Grek's motivation mirrored the Tak's own desperation for genetic diversity. This understanding could be the key to a diplomatic solution, but first they had to stop the invasion. They reached the weapons control room, securing it after a fierce firefight. As Noah and Willa worked to disable the main weapons array, Captain Rodriguez and the other humans held off Grek reinforcements at the entrance. "We've done it!" Willa exclaimed as the ship's systems registered the weapons shutdown. Noah allowed himself a moment of relief before refocusing. "Now for the hard part," he said, turning to the team. "We need to take the bridge." As they prepared to make their final push, Noah caught Willa's eye. In that shared glance, he saw his own mix of fear, perseverance, and hope reflected back at him. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The team moved out, ready to confront the Grek leadership and end the invasion once and for all. The fate of two species hung in the balance as they raced towards the command bridge, the sounds of battle echoing through the alien ship. Corridor. As they approached the bridge, an explosion rocked the ship, causing a sudden decompression. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, separating Noah and Willa from the rest of the team. "Captain Rodriguez!" Noah shouted, pounding on the sealed door. "Dr. Johansson, can you hear me?" Only static answered through their comms. Noah turned to Willa, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with anxiety in the dimly lit compartment. "We're on our own," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of their situation. Willa nodded, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the emergency lights. "Then we must complete the mission ourselves." As they assessed their surroundings, Noah noticed a strange sensation coursing through his body. His muscles felt taut, his senses heightened. He caught Willa's gaze, and a flicker of understanding passed between them. "The hybridization," Willa said, her voice a mix of awe and concern. "It seems to have enhanced your physiology." Noah flexed his hand, marveling at the newfound strength. "And your bioluminescence. It's brighter than before." They shared a moment of silent communication, their earlier intimate connection leaving a residual link between their minds. Without a word, they knew what they had to do. Willa intensified her bioluminescence, bathing the corridor in a soft, alien glow. Noah took point, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to navigate the treacherous path ahead. They encountered pockets of decompression, timing their movements carefully to avoid being sucked into the vacuum of space. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon a group of injured Grek soldiers. Noah's diplomatic instincts kicked in, overriding his combat training. "We should help them," he said, already moving towards the wounded aliens. Willa grabbed his arm. "Noah, they're the enemy. We can't afford to think that way," Noah interrupted, his voice firm but compassionate. "If we're going to end this conflict, we need to start seeing each other as people, not just adversaries." Reluctantly, Willa nodded, and they approached the Grek. Using improvised sign language and gentle touches, Noah managed to convey their intent to help. As they tended to the aliens' wounds with supplies from a nearby emergency kit, one of the Grek, larger than the others, watched them intently. "You help? Why?" the Grek asked in broken English, his mandibles clicking with each word. "Because it's the right thing to do," Noah replied simply. The Grek considered this for a moment, then nodded. "I am Kral. I help you now." With Kral's assistance, they navigated a series of maintenance tunnels, bypassing heavily guarded areas. As they moved, Kral explained the Grek's desperate situation, a genetic defect causing widespread infertility, threatening their entire species. Noah's mind raced with the implications. "So that's why you're invading. You're looking for a cure." Kral nodded solemnly. "Our people die. Need new genes? Tok world has mineral. Maybe save us." The revelation strengthened Noah's drive to find a diplomatic solution. However, before he could respond, another explosion shook the ship. The tunnel ahead of them buckled, debris raining down. Kral, using his larger body, shielded Noah and Willa from the falling metal. As the dust settled, they found Kral pinned beneath a heavy beam. Despite their efforts, they couldn't free him. "Take this," Kral said, pressing a small device into Noah's hand. "Bridge access, stop fight, save all people." Noah gripped the device tightly. "We'll send help for you, Kral. I promise." With a final nod to their unlikely ally, Noah and Willa pressed on. They reached the bridge access point, using Kral's device to bypass the security protocols. As the doors slid open, they were met with a scene of chaos. Grek officers scrambled to regain control of their disabled weapon systems, barely noticing the human and Tok intruders. Noah and Willa exchanged a quick glance, their mental link allowing for silent coordination. They sprang into action, Noah's enhanced strength and reflexes complementing Willa's Tok combat training. They moved in perfect sync, disarming and subduing Grek officers with an efficiency that surprised even them. In the midst of the fray, a stray energy bolt caught Willa in the side. She stumbled, her bioluminescence flickering erratically. Noah felt her pain as if it were his own, a protective fury surging through him. With renewed intensity, Noah engaged the remaining Grek officers. His movements were a blur, fueled by a combination of adrenaline and the lingering effects of the hybridization. Within moments, the bridge was secure. Breathing heavily, Noah rushed to Willa's side. As he cradled her, their mental link flared to life. Emotions and thoughts flowed between them. Relief, pain, and a deep growing connection that transcended their differences. "We did it," Willa whispered, her bioluminescence steadying as Noah tended to her wound. Noah nodded, then turned to the bridge's communication array. "Now for the hard part," he said, activating the system. His voice echoed across all channels, reaching Grek, Tok, and human forces alike. "This is Noah Taylor of Earth. I'm calling for an immediate ceasefire. We have control of the Grek command ship, and I'm proposing a three-way negotiation to address the issues facing all our species." As he outlined his proposal, Noah watched the view screens. Slowly, the chaos of battle began to subside. Emergency ships from all three species converged on their location, marking the beginning of a new and uncertain chapter. The bridge doors slid open, revealing Dr. Johansson, Captain Rodriguez, and the rest of the team. Their expressions of shock at finding Noah and Willa in control quickly turned to admiration. "Well done, Taylor," Rodriguez said, a hint of a smile on her usually stern face. "Though I think you might have just committed Earth to the most complex diplomatic negotiation in history without authorization." Noah looked down at Willa, still leaning against him for support, then back to the view of the battle-scarred Tok homeworld. "Sometimes," he said, "you have to take a leap of faith to make peace." As the implications of their actions began to sink in, Noah knew that the real challenges lay ahead. But with Willa by his side and the newfound understanding between the species, he felt ready to face whatever came next. As the implications of their actions began to sink in, Noah knew that the real challenges lay ahead. But with Willa by his side and the newfound understanding between the species, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Within hours, a neutral space station orbiting the Tak homeworld became the epicenter of an unprecedented diplomatic endeavor. Noah and Willa, along with representatives from all three species, were swiftly transported to this floating bastion of hope. As Noah stepped off the shuttle, he marveled at the station's architecture, a blend of human, Tak, and Grek design elements. The air hummed with tension and possibility. Captain Rodriguez approached him, her face a mask of professional detachment. "Taylor, a word." They moved to a quiet corner of the docking bay. Rodriguez's voice was low and urgent. "Earth's governments are divided on how to proceed. For now, you have provisional authority to continue negotiations. But tread carefully. Your actions will be subject to review." Noah nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "Understood, Captain. I'll do my best to represent Earth's interests while pushing for a peaceful resolution." As Rodriguez departed, Willa sidled up to Noah, her bioluminescence pulsing softly. "The Tak delegation is assembling in the main conference room," she said. "Are you ready?" Noah took a deep breath, acutely aware of the enhanced sensation in his lungs, a lingering effect of their intimate encounter. "As ready as I'll ever be," he replied, managing a small smile. They entered the conference room together, greeted by a cacophony of alien languages and the harsh glare of artificial lighting. The Grek delegation, led by their imposing Supreme Commander Zork, huddled in one corner, their insectoid features betraying no emotion. High Counselor Zix of the Tak approached Noah and Willa, his translucent skin shimmering with awe-inspiring excitement. "Noah, Taylor, Willa, we are most grateful for your intervention. Perhaps now we can forge a path towards mutual survival and prosperity." Noah inclined his head respectfully. "That's our hope, High Counselor, but I won't pretend it will be easy." As if on cue, Supreme Commander Zork's voice boomed across the room. "Enough pleasantries. We are here because our invasion failed. Do not expect the Grek to simply roll over and accept human domination." The room erupted into a flurry of angry clicks, chirps, and shouts. Noah raised his hands, his enhanced physiology allowing his voice to cut through the noise. "Please, we're all here because we recognize that cooperation is our best hope for survival. Let's start by listening to each other." Gradually, the clamor subsided. Noah nodded to Dr. Johansson, who stepped forward with a data pad. "I've been analyzing the genetic issues facing both the Tak and Grek species," the scientist began. "I believe I have a solution, albeit a radical one." As Johansson outlined his proposal for a controlled program of genetic exchange between all three species, Noah watched the reactions ripple through the room. The Tak delegates chittered excitedly, while the Grek mandibles clicked in agitation. "Preposterous," Zork bellowed. "You expect us to dilute our pure Grek lineage with alien DNA?" Noah interjected, "Supreme Commander, with all due respect, isn't that preferable to watching your species wither away? Remember Kral, he understood the desperate need for a solution." At the mention of Kral, Zork's compound eyes narrowed, but he remained silent. The negotiations continued for hours, the discussion growing heated at times. Noah found himself at the center, mediating disputes and offering compromises. His enhanced senses allowed him to pick up on subtle cues, a twitch of a Grek antenna, a flicker of Tak bioluminescence, that helped him navigate the complex web of alien politics. As the first day of talks drew to a close, Noah felt mentally and physically exhausted. He and Willa retreated to their assigned quarters, a sparse but comfortable room with a large viewport overlooking the Tak homeworld. "You did well today," Willa said softly, her bioluminescence pulsing in a soothing rhythm. Noah sank onto the bed, running a hand through his hair. "It's like trying to herd cats. If cats were three different species with competing interests and the fate of their civilizations at stake." Willa tilted her head, puzzled by the Earth idiom, but she understood the sentiment. She sat beside him, her alien warmth a comfort in the sterile room. Without conscious thought, their hands intertwined. The touch sparked a familiar tingling sensation, their biochemical connection flaring to life. Noah turned to Willa, seeing his own mix of exhaustion, stress, and longing reflected in her multifaceted eyes. Their lips met, and the world fell away. In that moment, there were no warring species, no complex negotiations, just two beings finding solace and understanding in each other's arms. As they lay together afterward, basking in the afterglow of their intimacy, neither Noah nor Willa noticed the tiny alien device nestled in a corner of the room, its lens focused unblinkingly on their entwined forms. In his private chambers, Supreme Commander Zork reviewed the footage with a mixture of disgust and fascination. The ease with which the human and Tok mated, the unique biochemical reactions observed, it was unprecedented. Zork's mind raced with the possibilities. This could be the key to saving his species, a shortcut to genetic viability that bypassed the need for the human's convoluted diplomatic solution. He made his decision. The next day, he would approach the human, Noah Taylor, with a proposal. The future of the Grek species might depend on it. As the space station's artificial night cycle dimmed the lights, Noah drifted off to sleep, blissfully unaware of the new challenges that awaited him in the morning. Beside him, Willa's bioluminescence flickered with strange new patterns, a harbinger of changes to come. As dawn broke on the space station, Noah awoke with a start. The events of the previous day rushed back to him, and he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on his shoulders. Beside him, Willa stirred, her bioluminescence pulsing softly in the dim light. Another day of negotiations, Noah sighed, running a hand through his tousled hair. Willa's multifaceted eyes blinked open. "We will find a way, Noah. We must." They dressed quickly and made their way to the main conference room, where the air was thick with tension. Supreme Commander Zork's towering form dominated one corner, his compound eyes fixed on Noah as he entered. "Human," Zork's voice boomed, "I have a proposal for you." Noah steeled himself, sensing the gravity of the moment. "I'm listening, Commander." Zork outlined his demands for immediate genetic experimentation between humans and Grek. As the alien spoke, Noah's mind raced, weighing the ethical implications against the desperate need for a solution. When Zork finished, Noah took a deep breath. "Commander, I understand your urgency, but we can't rush into this without proper safeguards." He paused, formulating his response carefully. "I propose a controlled scientific study of human-Grek compatibility conducted alongside our ongoing human Tok research. We'll adhere to strict ethical guidelines, and participation will be entirely voluntary." The room fell silent, all eyes on Zork. The Grek commander's antennae twitched as he considered Noah's words. Finally, he spoke. "Your terms are acceptable, for now." A collective sigh of relief rippled through the room. High Counselor Zix of the Tok clicked his approval, and Dr. Johansson nodded, already mentally preparing for the expanded research program. Over the next few days, the space station buzzed with activity. New laboratories sprang up, filled with a dizzying array of equipment from all three species. Noah and Willa, along with other volunteers, underwent extensive medical examinations and genetic mapping. During one such examination, Dr. Johansson's eyes widened as he studied the results on his datapad. "Noah, Willa, you need to see this." They gathered around the screen, where Willa's genetic structure was displayed in intricate detail. Noah gasped as he saw the human DNA strands intertwined with Willa's alien genome. "It's evolving," Dr. Johansson explained, his voice filled with awe. "Willa's genetic structure is incorporating human DNA in a way we've never seen before." The news spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the delicate alliance. High Counselor Zix and his delegation clamored for immediate, widespread implementation of human Tok pairings. The Grek, feeling left behind, pushed for accelerated research into human-Grek compatibility. Noah found himself caught in a storm of competing demands. "We need to proceed cautiously," he insisted during a particularly heated meeting. "We don't fully understand the implications of these genetic changes." As the pressure mounted, Noah began to experience strange symptoms. Vivid dreams plagued his nights, filled with flashes of alien landscapes and incomprehensible languages. During the day, he occasionally found himself disoriented, seeing ghostly images of Tok cities overlaid on the space station's sterile corridors. "It's our connection," Willa explained when Noah confided in her. My changes are affecting you too. Their shared predicament only strengthened their bond, but it also complicated Noah's role as a mediator. He struggled to maintain his diplomatic composure while grappling with these new sensory experiences. One evening, as Noah and Willa were discussing the day's events in their quarters, alarms blared throughout the station. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled over the intercom. "Security breach in Sector 7. All personnel, prepare for potential hostile action." Noah and Willa exchanged a look of alarm before rushing to the door. As they entered the corridor, they saw chaos unfolding. A group of Grek, their exoskeletons marked with unfamiliar insignia, were advancing through the station, weapons raised. "Radicals," Willa hissed. "They must be here to sabotage the research." Noah nodded grimly. "We can't let them destroy everything we've worked for." They sprinted towards the research facilities, dodging panicked station personnel along the way. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with 3 of the Grek attackers. Without hesitation, Noah sprang into action, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to dodge the first energy blast. Willa moved in perfect sync with him, her tok-tok combat training evident in her fluid movements. As they fought, Noah noticed a strange sensation building within him. His vision blurred, and suddenly he could see faint patterns of light emanating from Willa's skin. The patterns shifted and swirled, growing more intense by the second. With a cry of surprise, Willa thrust her hands forward. A brilliant burst of bioluminescence exploded outward, engulfing the Grek attackers. The aliens stumbled, their compound eyes unable to process the disorienting light display. Taking advantage of their confusion, Noah and Willa quickly subdued the attackers. As the light faded, they stared at each other in amazement. "How did you do that?" Noah asked, breathless. Willa shook her head, her bioluminescence still pulsing erratically. I don't know. It just happened." Before they could discuss it further, Captain Rodriguez's voice came over their communicators. "Taylor, we've contained most of the attackers, but they're still trying to breach the main lab. We need backup." Noah and Willa raced towards the lab, their minds reeling from the new development. As they arrived, they found Rodriguez and a mixed group of human, tok-tok, and loyal Grek security forces engaged in a firefight with the remaining radicals. "Willa," Noah said, an idea forming, "can you do that light thing again?" She nodded, understanding immediately. As Noah provided cover, Willa focused her energy, drawing on her new ability. The corridor lit up with a dazzling array of colors and patterns, more intense than before. The radical Grek, caught off guard, faltered in their attack. The security forces seized the opportunity, quickly overwhelming the disoriented attackers. Within minutes, the threat was neutralized, and the station was secured. As the adrenaline of the battle faded, Noah looked around at the diverse group of allies who had fought together to protect their shared future. Despite the attack, he felt a glimmer of hope. The crisis had brought them closer, fostering a sense of unity that transcended species. Captain Rodriguez approached, her expression a mix of relief and concern. "Good work, you two, but we're not out of the woods yet. Earth is getting nervous about all this interspecies mingling. We need to solidify this alliance fast before anyone else tries to derail it." Noah nodded, his mind already racing with ideas. He looked at Willa, her bioluminescence now a calm, steady glow. "We've got work to do," he said. As they made their way back to the conference room to begin the next phase of negotiations, Noah knew that the path ahead would be challenging. But with Willa by his side and the promise of new discoveries on the horizon, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Their next move. The attack had shaken everyone, but it also presented an opportunity to strengthen their alliance. "We need to capitalize on this moment," Noah said, addressing the gathered leaders. "The Grek extremists tried to divide us, but they've only brought us closer together." High Counselor Zix clicked his mandibles in agreement. "Indeed, our combined efforts in defending the station have shown what we can achieve when united." Supreme Commander Zork, still visibly shaken by the actions of his own people, nodded solemnly. "We must redouble our efforts in research and cooperation. It is the only way forward." Over the next few weeks, the space station buzzed with renewed energy. Dr. Johansson and his team, now augmented with additional resources and volunteers from all three species, made rapid progress in their genetic studies. One afternoon, as Noah and Willa observed a particularly promising experiment, Dr. Johansson burst into the lab, his eyes wide with excitement. "We've done it," he exclaimed, waving a data pad. "The combination of human and tok DNA in Willa's physiology, it's the key we've been looking for." Noah leaned in, studying the complex diagrams on the screen. "What does this mean exactly?" Dr. Johansson could barely contain himself. "It means we have a solution for both the tok-tak's genetic stagnation and the Grek's infertility issues. Willa's evolving DNA holds the blueprint for a revolutionary gene therapy." The news spread quickly, reigniting enthusiasm among all parties. Even the most skeptical members of the alliance saw the potential in this breakthrough. As the research progressed, Noah found himself pondering the future. He paced the observation deck, gazing out at the stars when an idea struck him. At the next alliance meeting, Noah stood before the assembled leaders. "I have a proposal," he began, his voice steady. "We've made incredible progress here, but we need a place to implement these discoveries on a larger scale. I propose we establish a joint colony on a nearby uninhabited planet." The room erupted in a cacophony of voices, some excited, others concerned. Noah raised his hands, calling for calm. "This colony would serve as a testing ground for our cooperation," he continued. "A place where we can conduct further research in a controlled environment, away from potential threats." The debate raged for hours, but in the end, the alliance leaders saw the wisdom in Noah's plan. Preparations began immediately, with teams scouting potential locations and drafting plans for the colony's infrastructure. As the project took shape, Noah and Willa found themselves spending more time together. Their biochemical bond continued to strengthen, leading to increasingly frequent, intimate encounters. These moments not only deepened their personal connection, but also provided valuable data for the ongoing genetic research. The day finally arrived for the first wave of colonists to depart. Noah and Willa stood at the front of the assembled group, a mix of excitement and nervousness coursing through them. Captain Rodriguez approached, offering a crisp salute. "The ships are ready, Mr. Taylor. It's time." Noah nodded, squeezing Willa's hand. As they boarded the lead vessel, he couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. They were about to embark on a journey that could change the course of galactic history. The colony ships broke through the planet's atmosphere, revealing a world of vibrant purple skies and sprawling crimson forests. As they touched down in a clearing, Noah took his first breath of alien air. "It's beautiful," Willa whispered, her bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. The first days on the new world were a flurry of activity. Colonists from all three species worked side by side, establishing the basic infrastructure needed for survival. Noah and Willa found themselves at the center of it all, coordinating efforts and mediating disputes. Their evolving abilities proved invaluable in facing the challenges of their new home. During a particularly violent storm, Willa's enhanced bioluminescence guided a group of lost Grek workers back to the safety of the camp. Noah's increased strength and reflexes allowed him to rescue a tok scientist from a collapsing excavation site. As the colony took shape, word of their success spread throughout the galaxy. One morning, as Noah reviewed construction plans with a group of engineers, a commotion at the edge of the camp caught his attention. A sleek silver ship, unlike anything they had seen before, descended from the sky. As its ramp lowered, a group of tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin emerged. "The Zorn Collective," Willa breathed, her eyes wide with recognition. Noah straightened his uniform and stepped forward to greet the newcomers. As he extended his hand in welcome, he couldn't shake the feeling that their arrival marked the beginning of a new chapter in their interstellar adventure, one filled with even greater challenges and possibilities. Opportunities. As Noah extended his hand to the Zorn representatives, he felt a subtle shift in the air, as if the very fabric of their interstellar alliance was expanding to accommodate these new arrivals. "Welcome to our colony," Noah said, his voice steady despite the mix of excitement and apprehension coursing through him. "I'm Noah Taylor, and this is Willa, my partner and co-leader of this settlement." The lead Zorn, A being of ethereal grace with skin that shimmered like starlight, inclined its head in a gesture of respect. "We are honored to be here," it said, its voice a melodious hum that seemed to resonate on multiple frequencies. "I am Zelnara, emissary of the Zorn Collective. We have observed your progress with great interest." As Noah led the Zorn delegation on a tour of the colony, he couldn't help but notice the ripple of reactions their presence caused. Humans, Tok, and Grek alike watched with a mixture of awe and curiosity. The success of their multi-species experiment was evident in the seamless cooperation on display, but Noah knew that beneath the surface, tensions were brewing. In the weeks that followed, the colony's population swelled with new arrivals, eager to be part of this unprecedented venture. Among them was Dr. Elena Vasquez, a human xenobiologist whose piercing gaze seemed to dissect everything she saw. Noah watched as Dr. Vasquez approached Willa during a routine systems check. "Fascinating," the scientist murmured, her eyes fixed on the way Willa's bioluminescence pulsed in sync with the colony's mainframe. "Your ability to interface with our technology is remarkable. I'd love to study this phenomenon more closely." Willa's skin flickered with a pattern that Noah recognized as discomfort. He stepped in smoothly. "Dr. Vasquez, welcome to the colony. I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities to collaborate with our team. For now, why don't I show you to the research facilities?" As they walked, Noah's communicator chirped urgently. Dr. Johansson's voice came through, tinged with excitement. "Noah, I need you in the lab immediately. We've had a breakthrough." In the sterile confines of the main laboratory, Dr. Johansson paced with hardly restrained energy. "We've done it," he said as soon as Noah entered. "We've successfully mapped the gene sequences necessary for Grek compatibility. With this, we can finally move forward with the tri-species hybrid project." Noah's mind raced with the implications. "That's incredible news, Doctor. But we need to proceed carefully. The Grek have been feeling left behind. We need to manage this revelation delicately." Before Noah could formulate a plan, alarms blared throughout the colony. Willa's voice came over the comm system. "Noah, we have multiple system failures across the settlement. Power fluctuations, life support instabilities. I can't isolate the cause." Noah sprinted to the control center, where he found Willa with her hands pressed against a console, her entire body glowing with intense bioluminescence. Her eyes were closed in concentration. "It's not a malfunction," she said, her voice strained. "There's something alive in the systems. Countless microscopic organisms drawn to our energy emissions." As Willa interfaced with the colony's computers, using her evolved abilities to communicate with the indigenous life forms, Noah coordinated emergency response teams. He watched in awe as his partner's bioluminescence shifted and pulsed, somehow translating the alien intentions of these microscopic beings. "They're not hostile," Willa gasped, her eyes flying open. "They're curious, hungry for energy. We need to adapt our technology to accommodate them, or they'll keep disrupting our systems." Noah nodded, already formulating a plan. "Dr. Vasquez," he called out, spotting the xenobiologist hovering nearby. "Your expertise could be invaluable here. Can you work with Willa to study these organisms and help us find a way to coexist?" As the crisis abated and the colony adjusted to its new microscopic neighbors, Noah found himself facing a new challenge. A group of Grek colonists approached him, their exoskeletons clicking with agitation. "We've been patient," their spokesperson said, mandibles twitching, "but we cannot ignore the progress made with human Tok hybrids while we remain stagnant. If our needs are not addressed, we may have no choice but to return to our homeworld." Noah felt the weight of leadership pressing down on him. He knew that the success of their entire alliance hinged on keeping all three species engaged and satisfied. As he prepared to address the Grek concerns, his gaze fell on the silent Zorn observers, their iridescent forms a reminder of the greater galactic community watching their every move. With a deep breath, Noah stepped forward to face the assembled Grek. The future of their interstellar experiment hung in the balance, and he knew that his next words could shape the destiny of three species, and perhaps the entire galaxy. Galaxy. Noah took a deep breath, steadying himself for the challenging conversation ahead. Before he could address the Grek concerns, however, an urgent message crackled through his communicator. Mr. Taylor, Captain Rodriguez's voice rang out. We've detected unusual energy signatures emanating from the nearby ruins. We need you to lead an expedition immediately. Noah glanced at Willa, who nodded in understanding. Assemble a team, he told Rodriguez. We'll head out within the hour. Turning back to the Grek spokesperson, Noah spoke quickly but firmly. I understand your frustrations, and I promise we'll address them. But right now, we have a potentially critical situation that requires our immediate attention. I'd like to invite a Grek representative to join our expedition. This could be an opportunity for all of us to work together and make a significant discovery. The Grek clicked their mandibles, considering the offer. After a moment, they gestured to one of their scientists. Zixcar will accompany you. We expect a full report upon your return. As the joint research team assembled, Noah briefed them on the situation. Dr. Elena Vasquez joined the group, her expertise in xenobiology potentially crucial for the mission. Willa stood by Noah's side, her bioluminescence pulsing with anticipation. The team set out towards the ruins, their path illuminated by the eerie purple glow of the alien sky. As they approached the ancient structures, the energy signatures grew stronger, causing their equipment to crackle and hum. Fascinating, Dr. Vasquez murmured, studying her readings. These energy patterns are unlike anything I've ever seen. Willa's skin flickered in response to the energy, her evolved tok-tok physiology picking up on frequencies the others couldn't detect. There's something alive about it, she said, her voice filled with wonder. The team carefully made their way into the ruins, documenting everything they encountered. Ancient glyphs covered the walls, depicting scenes of a long-lost civilization. As they ventured deeper, the air grew thick with an electric charge. Suddenly, Noah's foot caught on a raised section of the floor. He stumbled, his hand instinctively reaching out to steady himself against a nearby pillar. As his palm made contact with the smooth surface, a burst of energy surged through the chamber. The team watched in awe as holographic images sprang to life around them, filling the air with shimmering light. A figure materialized in the center of the room, a being unlike any they had encountered before. Greetings, Seekers, the hologram spoke, its voice echoing through time. If you are witnessing this message, then you have reached a critical juncture in your development. The being proceeded to explain how their civilization had achieved remarkable feats of genetic engineering, including the creation of viable tri-species hybrids. However, their success was short-lived. We discovered too late the instabilities our creations introduced into our genetic code. The hologram continued. What we thought was our greatest triumph became our undoing. The revelation sent shockwaves through the team. Dr. Vasquez exchanged worried glances with Zixcar, both thinking of the ongoing experiments back at the colony. Willa, driven by an inexplicable urge, approached one of the ancient consoles. As her hand hovered over its surface, her bioluminescence intensified. Suddenly, streams of data began flowing through her, visible as pulses of light beneath her skin. Noah, she gasped, her eyes wide. I can access their database. They developed safeguards, fail-safes for the hybridization process. This could be the key to stabilizing Dr. Johansson's experiments. As Willa interfaced with the ancient technology, the rest of the team continued to explore the vast underground complex. They carefully cataloged artifacts and technology, their excitement growing with each new discovery. Noah's communicator buzzed, breaking the team's concentration. Captain Rodriguez's voice came through, tense and urgent. Noah, we have a situation at the colony. A group of human extremists attempted to sabotage the hybridization research facilities. Dr. Vasquez's colleagues managed to stop them, but tensions are high. The Grek are threatening to separate from the main settlement. Noah pursed his lips, the weight of leadership bearing down on him once again. He was about to respond when Willa called out, her voice filled with excitement. Noah, everyone, you need to see this. The team rushed to Willa's location, finding her standing before a sealed chamber. The door slid open as they approached, revealing rows of carefully preserved genetic samples. These are from the ancient species, Willa explained, her skin pulsing with excitement. They could be the missing piece we need to perfect the tri-species hybridization process. As the team prepared to transport the precious genetic material back to the colony, they encountered an unexpected obstacle. The microscopic indigenous life forms they had discovered earlier swarmed around the ancient samples, drawn to their latent energy. Willa stepped forward, her bioluminescence shifting into complex patterns. The others watched in amazement as she communicated with the tiny creatures, negotiating safe passage for the team and their cargo. With the samples secured, the expedition began their journey back to the colony. Noah's mind raced with the implications of their discoveries and the challenges that awaited them. The success of their interstellar alliance hung in the balance, threatened by internal divisions and the unknown consequences of their genetic experiments. As the purple sky darkened above them, Noah caught Willa's eye. In her gaze, he saw a reflection of his own persistence and hope. Whatever trials lay ahead, they would face them together, not just as partners, but as living proof of what their alliance could achieve. The colony's structures came into view on the horizon, its lights a beacon in the alien landscape. Noah squared his shoulders, preparing himself for the difficult conversations and decisions that awaited him. The genetic samples they carried held the potential to change everything, for better or for worse. As they approached the settlement's gates, Noah knew that the next chapter of their interstellar adventure was about to begin, with challenges and possibilities beyond anything they had yet imagined. As Noah and his team approached the colony's gates, the ground beneath their feet trembled. A low rumble reverberated through the air, causing the team to exchange worried glances. Before they could react, Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled through Noah's communicator once more. "Noah, we're detecting significant seismic activity near the ruins. Our sensors indicate it's intensifying rapidly. We need you to investigate immediately." Noah looked at Willa, who nodded in agreement. "Understood, Captain. We're on our way." The team quickly deposited their precious cargo of genetic samples at the research facility and assembled a new expedition group. Dr. Vasquez insisted on joining, her expertise in xenobiology potentially crucial for understanding the phenomenon. Zixkar, the Grek scientist, also volunteered, eager to contribute to the mission. As they hurried back towards the ruins, the tremors grew more frequent and intense. The alien landscape seemed to shift and undulate beneath their feet, making their progress slow and treacherous. Upon reaching the entrance to the ruins, they found the structure had changed. New passages had opened up, revealing previously hidden depths. Willa's bioluminescence pulsed erratically, responding to the strange energies emanating from within. "There's something powerful down there," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and apprehension. "It's calling to me." The team cautiously made their way deeper into the complex, following Willa's instincts and the increasingly strong energy signatures. As they descended, the air grew thick with an electric charge, causing their hair to stand on end and their equipment to crackle with static. Suddenly, the passage opened into a vast chamber that took their breath away. In the center stood a massive device, its surface covered in pulsing lines of energy that mirrored Willa's bioluminescent patterns. The machine hummed with power, its core glowing with an otherworldly light. "Incredible," Dr. Vasquez breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "This appears to be some kind of terraforming device. It must be responsible for the seismic activity we've been experiencing." Willa approached the device, drawn by an inexplicable urge. As she neared, tendrils of energy reached out to her, enveloping her in a cocoon of light. Noah called out in alarm, but Willa's voice, calm and clear, cut through his panic. "I'm all right, Noah. I can understand it. This device was meant to transform the planet, to make it suitable for the tri-species hybrids the ancients created." As Willa communed with the alien technology, deciphering its purpose and functions, a violent tremor shook the chamber. Chunks of rock and debris began to rain down from the ceiling. "We need to stabilize it," Noah shouted over the din of crumbling stone. "Willa, can you shut it down?" Willa's brow furrowed in concentration. "No, it's too far into the process. Shutting it down now could cause catastrophic damage to the planet's core. We need to control it, guide the transformation." Another tremor rocked the chamber, more violent than before. A large section of the ceiling collapsed, blocking the entrance and trapping Noah, Willa, Dr. Vasquez, and Zixkar inside with the device. As dust filled the air, Noah activated his communicator. "Captain Rodriguez, do you read me? We're trapped in the ruins with some kind of alien terraforming device. It's causing the seismic activity, and we can't shut it down. The captain's voice came through, broken and staticky. Understood, Noah. We're to reach you. Cole, under threat. Johansson, hybrid plants, animals to survive. The connection cut out, leaving the trapped team in eerie silence punctuated by the hum of the device and the occasional rumble of shifting earth. Noah, Willa called, her voice strained. I've made a discovery. The device? It needs a living operator, someone with a perfect balance of all three species' DNA. The implication hung heavy in the air. Noah looked at Willa, then down at her abdomen where their unborn child grew, a child that was now their only hope for survival. You can't be serious, Dr. Vasquez interjected. The fetus is nowhere near term. It's far too dangerous. Zixcar clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Perhaps not. If we combine the ancient technology with our knowledge of accelerated gestation, it may be possible. Noah met Willa's eyes, seeing his own fear and tenacity reflected there. They both knew the risks, but also understood the magnitude of what was at stake. We have to try, Willa said softly. For our child, for the colony, for all three of our species. With grim willpower, the team set to work. Using the ancient alien technology and their combined scientific expertise, they prepared for a procedure that would push the boundaries of their knowledge and Willa's evolving physiology to the limit. As Willa lay connected to the device, her body glowing with intense bioluminescence, Noah held her hand tightly. The chamber shook around them, a constant reminder of the danger they faced and the urgency of their task. Stay with me, Willa, Noah whispered, his voice thick with emotion. We're going to get through this together. Willa squeezed his hand in response, her eyes closed in concentration as the accelerated gestation process began. The fate of their unborn child, the colony, and perhaps their entire alliance hung in the balance, as the alien device pulsed with ever-increasing power.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.